House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the agreement between Israel and the United Arab Emirates is welcoming news.
Just the fact that they will, I think, exchange ambassadors and the rest, it's exciting.
The speaker called the news an important step that could benefit the region and the world. Senator Jim Risch, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, also applauded the move, saying in a statement, "I hope to see other countries across the Arab and Muslim world follow the UAE's lead." Reaction continues to pour in following the announcement yesterday of a plan to normalize relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Father Dr. David Neuhaus, superior of the Jesuits in the Holy Land, joins us tonight from Jerusalem. Father, thank you for your time today. So do you believe this deal will bring peace and political stability to the region?
Well, no, I don't think that it will immediately bring peace or stability. In fact, it's rather strange to call it a peace agreement because the United Arab Emirates are not at war with Israel. And contacts have been friendly going all the way back to 2003. In fact, what is more of a surprise is that this seems to be being packaged as a peace deal, when in fact it is the normalization of relations that have been friendly just under the radar for a long time already. What we fear is, and it doesn't mean to say that our fears will be actualized, but what we fear is that this is a further normalization of a very abnormal situation, where the burning issue is relations between Israel and the Palestinians, the ongoing occupation, and of course discrimination within the state of Israel. This is really the core of the conflict. And as far as we can tell, there isn't much that is clear with regard to what role this conflict will play in the normalization of relations between the United Arab Emirates and Israel. This is our really big concern.
Father, what are the implications for Christians living in the West Bank?
Christians are desperately in need of justice and peace, an end to the conflict. Christians have been suffering like all Palestinians have been suffering, and because Christians are a very small part of the population, they are particularly vulnerable in a situation of instability, violence, and ongoing unrest in the region. And for this, we really need a very serious approach to justice and peace. This is exactly what we are not really clear about when it comes to what will happen when diplomatic relations are established between the State of Israel, particularly under the present government of Benjamin Netanyahu, and the United Arab Emirates, because the present regime is not doing very much in order to further that which Christians need the most, and that is justice and peace in our region.
I'd like to switch gears just a bit. What is the current status of pilgrimage in the Holy Land amidst the coronavirus pandemic? Do you know?
Well, sure, we know. We live it on a day-to-day basis. All tourism and pilgrimage is almost dead. In other words, Israel has got a very high rate of contagion. The number of people with the virus is not decreasing. The borders are almost closed. Visas are not being given for people to come in. Of course, citizens can return home, and people who are here can travel outside. It's not clear that they will get back if they are not citizens, but pilgrimage groups are not coming. And this is very, very sad. The holy places, of course, are abandoned, but also it is a terrible blow to the whole industry that deals with tourism, the hotels, the guides, many of whom, when it comes to pilgrimage, are Christians.
Well, Father Dr. David Neuhaus, thank you so much for your time and for your analysis today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
It is my great pleasure.